They forgot to tell me the new venue after I paid $10,400 for the engagement dinner, then celebrated my absence. So I emptied every shared account and left them a parting gift that had them calling me 74 times. Hey everyone. Before we kick off today's video, I've got a favor to ask. We've noticed our channel isn't getting as much love lately, and subscribing is one of the easiest ways you can help us out. It's quick, free, and it means we can keep bringing you awesome content. Your support really means a lot, so let's work together to keep this channel growing. Thanks a bunch. Now, let's dive into the video. Wow, you seriously missed the address again? My dad said I was hopeless when I called him. There I was, all alone in this massive $10,400 rental hall, just me and the cold hors d'oeuvres. No music, no guests, just some buzzing fluorescent lights above. I checked my phone, and there was a text from Mom saying, "Oops, sent you the old address. Too far to come now, just head home, sweetie." Of course, that message came 10 minutes after everything was supposed to start. I had already paid for all the decor, catering, servers, and even that over-the-top flaming champagne entrance Vanessa insisted on. Standing there in my suit, I watched the ice sculpture of swans start to melt. Didn't reply to anyone, not Mom, Dad, not even when Vanessa texted at 9:47 p.m., "Where are you?" Like I was the one who ditched. The real kicker came later that night when my cousin posted an Instagram story. It was a boomerang with everyone cheering, having a blast, Dad hugging Vanessa's fiancé. The caption said, "Best party yet, no drama, no him." That's when it hit me. I felt like I'd vanished. I went home and froze all the shared accounts like Netflix, Spotify, the family Apple plan. I emptied the venue's card too, including the refundable deposit, which they were using for Vanessa's honeymoon. At 10:01 p.m., I sent out a little surprise, a Dropbox folder automatically hitting all the family group chats and even their church committee and Dad's golf group. It had screenshots of Vanessa's fake invoices, audio of Mom saying, "Just distract him, he never double checks," and the guest list with my name erased. At 10:03 p.m., my phone blew up with calls from Mom, Dad, Vanessa, and cousins. By midnight, I had 74 missed calls, but I didn't answer. For years, they made it seem like I mattered, like we were a tight family. Mom would text, "Can you help just this once?" And I'd transfer money without thinking. Vanessa always promised, "I'll pay you back," but the receipts never showed up. I paid for her Invisalign, her dog's surgery, Netflix, the family phone plan, even the anniversary dinner where Dad toasted to family. But I was the one who paid for the wine, the meal, and even tipped the waiter who called me sir while Vanessa rolled her eyes and said, "Relax, it's just a meal." They were always behind on something: rent, utilities, tuition for Vanessa's 2-week business course. Vanessa always had an excuse, and I always had the cash. I thought I was being kind, then useful, but the math didn't add up. What they took never matched what they gave, which was mostly silence, sarcasm, or entitlement. I heard Dad joke at a barbecue, "Alex is good for emergencies," and they laughed. I pretended not to hear. The engagement dinner was supposed to be my last gift, a goodbye check, but they stole that too. I found out Vanessa booked another venue with my deposit, flashier and more social media friendly, using my name. I only discovered it after I saw the catering invoice for shrimp tartar and some bride's signature sangria that I never approved. Things didn't fall apart instantly, they unraveled. The family chat went dead for a few days. Maybe they were embarrassed or thought I'd yell, but I stayed quiet, and that made it worse. Once, I dropped by Vanessa's to return some heels she left in my car. Her door was unlocked, as usual. I called out, no answer. Her laptop was open, and I wasn't snooping, but then I saw my name in an email between her and Mom titled, "Plan for Saturday, keep Alex out." I froze and scrolled. Vanessa had written, "He'll be mad for 5 minutes, then pay for brunch anyway." Mom replied, "Just don't let him show up. Dan's family doesn't like drama." And the worst part was, it went on from there. So here's the deal, my family drama hit a whole new level. I didn't know what stung more, the betrayal or knowing it was totally expected. That same night, my dad posted some vague status about how some people thrive on drama, and added a shout out to my sis for rising above it. He didn't tag me, but he didn't need to. The comments were something else. My aunt chimed in with, "You raised her well, not like certain men I won't name," while my cousin threw in a laughing emoji and a zinger about the family wallet. Then, as if that wasn't enough, I got a screenshot from a group chat with a cousin I hadn't seen in ages. They were planning a family brunch the day after some engagement party, and you guessed it, no invite for me. One line really hit home, "Let's keep it clean, no meltdowns, no Alex." There I was, just sitting at my desk staring at my screen, not even mad or shocked, just done. The next day, my mom messaged me asking if I could help out with a honeymoon deposit because, surprise, Vanessa's card got declined and she was super stressed. I didn't reply, so my mom doubled down, promising they'd pay me back and adding, family means showing up. Don't be petty about the dinner thing. That's when it hit me, they'd never said sorry, not for the money, the manipulation, or shutting me out of something I had bankrolled. To them, I was just a bank with a mouth. But not anymore. I started digging through my bank statements and found 6 unauthorized charges. There was $389 for Vanessa's makeup, $1,120 for a florist I never contacted, and a suspicious transfer to an account ending in 82. So I called the bank, flagged the account, and requested an internal report. Then I canceled every auto payment linked to the family card, cutting off their power bill, grocery top-ups, even their wedding website URL. Now, it's a blank page stating, this celebration has been canceled, refunds pending. Okay, not entirely true, but it got the message across. The silence afterwards wasn't peaceful, it was heavy. Vanessa unfollowed me everywhere, my dad texted grow up, and my mom sent a single rose emoji. I laughed, not because it was witty but because they actually thought I'd back down. They had no clue this was just the beginning. The next scene was at a fancy restaurant with all white table settings and candlelight, the kind of place where a fork costs more than most meals I ate growing up. Vanessa had reserved the back terrace, curated as she put it in the email chain I wasn't included in. I wasn't on the guest list, but I showed up anyway. Dan, her fiancé, was chatting with his parents, Dad was already enjoying his wine, and Mom was laughing with a cousin I hadn't seen in forever. At first, nobody noticed me, not until a waiter asked, "Excuse me, are you with the Carter Lane party?" I smiled and said, "Unfortunately." I strolled in without missing a beat. Everything froze like a scene in a movie. Vanessa's grin vanished instantly. "What are you doing here?" she asked, trying to keep her cool. I shrugged, playing it casual. "Thought I'd drop by, say congrats, and see what a $10,400 party looks like after you subtract the guy who paid for it." Dan looked lost, his dad narrowed his eyes, and my own dad stood up all slow, like he was still in charge. "This isn't the time, Alex," he said. I turned to him and replied, "You made that decision for me when you told everyone I was no drama, no problem." His jaw twitched. Vanessa got in my face, "You can't just come in here and ruin this." I laughed sharply. "Ruin it?" "Vanessa, I funded it. Every rose, every rented champagne flute, even the playlist was downloaded with my Apple Music account." I whipped out my phone, showing off the receipts like evidence. "This email is from you, Vanessa, just make sure Alex doesn't find out. Transfer the money from his card, we'll sort it later." I turned to Dan and said, "Here's a gem from your bride-to-be, he's a loser, but his money's good. He won't fight back, he never does." People gasped and murmured while Mom got all flustered and stood up. Everyone, let's not make this worse." I kept going, "Worse? Mom, you were part of it." I pulled her email up next. "You said, of course he'll pay, he always does." "Well, guess what? I did, until now." I turned to Dan again, who looked like someone watching their world crumble. "Tell me, Dan, how much of your honeymoon did you pay for? Because the $3,000 charge to the Maldives villa? That was my card." I wasn't trying to embarrass them, I just wanted to stop pretending. Vanessa yelled, "You're insane." But her voice wobbled mid-sentence. "No," I said calmly, "I'm just finally awake." Then I shared a link with everyone at the table, a drive full of every transaction, every screenshot. Phones buzzed, and I left them to process it all. You could feel the tension in the room like a silence tightening. Dan's dad stood up and asked quietly, "Is this true?" Dan didn't say a word. Vanessa's hands were shaking as she reached out to him, but he pulled back. "You said he offered to help," Dan said slowly. "You said he insisted." Vanessa opened her mouth, then closed it, glancing at me. I didn't react. Dan looked between his dad and Vanessa, then said, "I need some air." And he left. Vanessa was frozen, her eyes darting around, and then she yelled, "You always do this. You make everything about you." I stepped close to her and whispered, "You made me invisible. I'm just showing everyone the ghost you built." I turned to see all the relatives trying to fake smile as they sipped wine they didn't pay for. "Let me be clear. I'm not your ATM anymore, not your backup plan, not your punching bag." Dad's voice rose, "You're humiliating us." I cut him off, "No, you did that yourselves." I walked out and nobody followed, except one quiet cousin. He caught up with me in the parking lot and said, I saw the screenshots. If you need someone to testify. I nodded, didn't say a word, got in my car, and for the first time in years, I felt like I was driving towards something, not away from it. Before I even left the parking garage, the call started. Mom was first, 7 missed calls in a row, then again 3 minutes later with a text saying, "Please don't do this. Don't make it permanent." But for me, it already was. They thought we could just talk it out, say we were all just tired, maybe shed a tear, and I'd go back to being useful. But no, I didn't yell. I didn't blast them on social media. I simply went silent. By the next day, I had shut down every payment channel I controlled, utilities canceled, Mom's health insurance terminated, wedding services nixed, shared subscriptions revoked. Then came softer messages. Vanessa sent a ridiculously sweet message, "Look, we were stressed. I know it looked bad, but can we just talk?" Followed by, "You blew things out of proportion, but I forgive you." I didn't respond and deleted the thread for good. By day 3, the phone went quiet, which was louder than anything. In a group chat, a cousin I barely knew texted, "Well, if he won't answer, that's on him." Day 4 was when real panic set in. Mom couldn't get her prescription because her coverage was dropped. The wedding site was down. The Family Prime account access was revoked. I never replied. For once, I wasn't the one left wondering. I was the one unreachable. That week, I signed a lease in another part of the city, smaller building, quieter street. Nobody knew my name. I bought new furniture, not because I needed it, but because I didn't want to lug anything from the past into my new life. I didn't block them, just didn't update them. No new address, no hints that I needed space, I just took it. I kept my old number, technically, but the phone was off. They had no clue. I got a new SIM card and only gave it to the bank and for two-factor authentication. It wasn't about hiding, it was like a clean break. On day 5, Dad's name flashed on my screen. I let it ring, feeling nothing. He left a voicemail, "You're no hero, Alex. You'll bury yourself like your grandfather did." Then another, "Running away like a boy. A man doesn't disappear, a man fights." I listened once, then deleted both and ignored the rest. They didn't get it, it wasn't about the dinner or the screenshots. It was about not coming back this time. Every other year, I'd go quiet for a week and then return with cash, help, or silence. This time, I left and locked every door behind me. Their messages got nastier. Vanessa accused me of ruining the most important time of her life, said I wrecked her happiness. Mom tried being gentle, "Family isn't perfect, but it's yours." I had no response. I wasn't seeking revenge. I just cut off access and lived my life. Mornings were quieter, no more quick transfer requests over breakfast. Lunch breaks weren't guilt calls, weekends weren't unpaid errands disguised as obligations. I wasn't expecting gratitude anymore because finally, I owed them nothing, and they owed me nothing. One evening, walking home, I saw a message from an unknown number, a screenshot of the last subscription renewal made in my name. That was the last one ever. "Hey, so here's the deal." I wasn't just throwing out a dramatic caption, I was dead serious. I didn't burn bridges, I buried them without a trace. It had been 5 months since everything blew up. I ghosted everyone, ditched the group chats, got a new bank, a new place to live, and set my own rules, no family from then on. And guess what? It actually worked. I could finally breathe, keep my money intact, and enjoy the quiet. For the first time, I felt like I'd finally moved on and left all the chaos behind. Then Dan called from a number I didn't recognize, but his voice was familiar. He said, "Look, I know you never want to hear from us again, but something's come up." I probably should have hung up right there, but I didn't. Turns out Vanessa opened a credit line in my name. Dan only found out because the bank thought he was her husband. She'd used some old paperwork, power of attorney, and pretended I was in on it. So, I headed to the bank. No lawyer, no drama, just a rage so cold it was like a laser. The account manager was checking my ID, clearly nervous, and said this wasn't just a mix-up but a planned identity theft. I nodded as she listed personal loans, a business card, and COVID grants all under my name, totaling nearly $18,000. Next thing you know, my mom walked in, looking like she'd seen a ghost. She pleaded with me not to go through with it, claiming Vanessa panicked and didn't mean to hurt me. I just said, "She committed fraud." My mom said, "It's family," but I shot back, "Exactly, and you used that word like a weapon." She got teary, but I didn't move. I told her, "You did it to me first." A few days later, Vanessa got arrested at a fancy salon, halfway through getting her nails done. Someone filmed it, and it blew up on TikTok, 40,000 views overnight. There she was, clutching a designer bag bought in my name, screaming it was a mistake. The headlines were brutal: bride to be arrested for identity theft. I didn't post or share anything, but people still tagged me, asking if it was my sister. Dan called again, broke off the engagement publicly, quietly, just like that. He messaged me, admitting I was right to walk away, and said he was sorry for doubting me. I didn't reply. I felt like I'd already said everything without saying a word, they just never listened. Weeks later, I was back at the bank, cutting all ties. The woman asked for an emergency contact, and I said, leave it blank. That blank space felt cleaner than any apology I never got. As I left, I saw my dad sitting in his car, looking small and defeated, not angry, just there. I walked past without acknowledging him. I realized the truth: my silence made me useful, but silence isn't loyalty. So when I finally acted instead of talking, they didn't know how to handle it. Now I'm out, not a victim, not a family member, just me. They erased me, and now they don't exist in my world.